comparing fractions and decimals. If you have a fraction to compare, like 2/5, and you're trying to compare it to a decimal, excuse me, let's take the, and you're trying to compare it to a decimal, there's two things you can do. You can either convert this to a fraction and simplify it, or you can convert this to a decimal. And in this case, when you're converting your fraction to a decimal, remember, you can come over, give a different color. If there's a way to change your denominator, multiply something times 5 to make it 10 or 100, you can write it as a decimal and it's easy to read and write. For example, I know if I multiply 2 times 5, I get 10. Whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So 2 times 2 is 4. So my new equivalent fraction is 4/10. Well, if I can read 4/10, I can write 4/10. Now I can compare this decimal with this decimal. 0, 0, 4, 2. So this is bigger. So I can automatically put it in. All right, let's try a different one. Let's do this. Okay, so let's say that I have, let's do 2/6, and I'm going to compare it to 0.7. Okay, all right. So I can look at this and I can say, well, there's nothing I can multiply times 6 to get to 10 or 100, so that's not going to work. So I can always convert my fraction into a decimal by doing the top dog in the house. Top dog, 2, goes in the house, divided by 6. Remember, I'm going to put my decimal here, slide it up, and add a couple zeros on it. I can add as many zeros as I need. Now I'm going to divide. 6 goes into 2, 0 times. 0 times 6 is 0, right? Subtract. Drop down. You'll have to drop the decimal because it's already up there. 6 goes into 20 3 times, which is 18. Subtract 2. Drop another 0, and you can see it's repeating. So my answer is going to keep going 3, 3, because it's going to keep repeating. As I add more and more zeros, it's going to keep doing the same thing. So on this side, I'm going to have 0.33. And on this side, I have 0.7 or 7/10. So I compare 0, 0, 3, 7. The 7's bigger, so automatically that's 2/6 is less than 7/10. So I have to convert one of them to be able to see my answer, to be able to figure it out. All right, let's look at another one. I don't know why that came up. Well, that's interesting. Not that I want to find out if I have diabetes. Okay, let's try it again. Continue. Let's see if it'll do it. It's not going to do it. All right, let's find my page. All right, so there we are. Whatever that was, I have no idea. Okay, so just a little intermission, guys. All right, so here we go. Here's another one. Let's do one more. Let's take a mixed number this time. Let's take 1 whole and 25 hundredths, and we want to compare that to 1 and 1/4. All right? So first of all, we know we have 1 and 25 hundredths. We know we have 1 whole over here, but we don't know what the 1/4 is. What decimal would that be? Because that's the decimal part. This is the whole number. They're the same. So now I've got to compare 1/4 and 0.25 because that's the decimal and that's the fraction part, right? So I'm going to go over and I can do this. I can say, well, I know 1/4, there's nothing I can multiply to get 10, but I can multiply 25 times that to get to 100, if you see that. If you don't see that I can multiply 25 and 25 and get 25 hundredths, right? Which I could rewrite as 1 and 25 hundredths. 25 hundredths, which means these are equal. If I didn't see that with 1/4, remember you can always do top dog. Watch, it'll work the same way. Top dog, 1 goes in the house, 4 gets divided. Remember, put your decimal down, slide it up, and add a couple zeros, and start. 4 goes into 1 0 times. Right? Subtract, drop. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract, drop, 0. And 4 goes into 20 5 times. Same answer, right? 0.25. Then I've got my 1 whole, so it becomes 1 goes there, 1 and 0.25 or 25 hundredths. Same thing. So now you can compare them because they look alike. So don't let it throw you just because you have whole numbers here and a whole number here. Now, if we wouldn't have had a whole number on one of them, we could have easily compared it knowing that. But you can do it either way, okay? All right, so that's comparing decimals and whole numbers. That's one of your sections that we'll be working on, comparing decimals, whole numbers, decimals, and fractions, being able to see what the amount would be. All right, let's do one last one. Let's do 1/4 and 0.5. Okay? So we have 1/4, which we could convert into a decimal. We could convert, let's say we want to convert this into a fraction. We could say 5/10 and 1/4. Well, we still have to come up with common denominators, which we haven't worked on yet. So that's a little tougher right now. But you can convert this, which we saw by top dog goes in the house. 1 divided by 4. We saw before that when we started, add your zeros on, goes into that. 4 goes into 10 2 times. Drop it down. 4 goes into 20 5 times. So this 1/4 is worth 0.25, and we're comparing it to that. 0, 0, 2, 5. That's bigger. All right? Hope that helps you guys.